Hi there everyone, and welcome to this 1,000 point battle between the forces of the Iron Warriors and the Ultramarines. In this 1,000 point open war mission, I'm going to be playing my homemade renegade space marines, the Sons of Sey'tan, against my Ultramarine forces in open war. From the open war deck, this is going to be our mission. So we've got objective drop, so we've got one objective dead smack in the middle of the table. Then we've got a pretty traditional long edges of the table deployment zone. And then our twist is going to be blackout, so all shooting attacks and psychic powers are limited to 18. That's going to rein in the guns of the Ultramarines and the psychic powers of both of the armies pretty handily. Right now we have the objective marker in the dead center of the table, and at the start of each battle round that's going to start moving around the table. Speaking of the table, we've got a game map by Gamemat.eu, and all of the terrain that you see is Games Workshop terrain. Everything that's 5 inches or taller will be obscurable ruin, so infantry can move through it. Vehicles are going to have to move around it. And then over on that side, that wall is not a terrain feature. That's just to mark out the edge of the battlefield. So we will be staying within that wall in this section of the ruined Imperial City. Now let's take a look at the armies. And here we are with the forces of the Ultramarines for today's 1,000 point battle. This is going to be a battalion led up by a Primaris captain with bullet rifle and mastercrafted power sword. He's going to be the warlord, so he's going to be rocking the Sword of the Imperium and Burning Blade combo. So he is beefed up for a melee threat. Then right beside him is going to be Chief Librarian Tigerius for our second HQ slot. He's going to be going out with Psychic Fortress, Might of Heroes, Veil of Time for his 3 psychic powers. In the troop slot, we have 2 units of Intercessors, one of 6, one of 5, just because I had enough points left over to get one more man in one of the squads and didn't know what else to do with the points. And then our third troop slot is going to be a 5-man unit of Infiltrators to start up the board. Then going on to elites, we've got a 3-man Blade Guard veteran squad who will probably be hanging out with the captain or Tigerius for most of the game. Then in fast attack, a 3 Outrider squad, and then some heavy armor, a Redemptor Dreadnought with the Gatling cannon flamer built into the fist, bolters in the chest, and I couldn't find the piece, but he will be rocking out with the rocket pod on top. So he'll hopefully be bringing some big guns that will never tire to this force. So that's going to be the loyal Space Marines of the Imperium. Now let's take a look at the list for the heretical Sons of Seytan. For the forces of the Chaos Space Marines, we are going to be playing my custom chapter as the Iron Warriors for today's battle. So no benefits of cover against them, and the loyal Space Marines of the Ultramarines will not be able to reroll their wounds against them. In the HQ slots, we have a Sorcerer and Terminator Lord. The Terminator Lord is going to be the Warlord. He's going to have the Mark of Khorne. His axe has been replaced by the Axe of the Forge Master, and he has the Iron Warrior specific Warlord trait for Unyielding Metal. That gives him +1 toughness and a 5-up invuln save. Then the Sorcerer, no mark on him. He's going to have Warp Time and Prescience. Moving on to the troops, we have 3 5-man Legionnaire squads. 1 over here with no upgrades, no mark. And then these 2 will both have a Heavy Bolter in the squad. Both of the Heavy Bolter squads will have the mark of Nurgle. Then going on to where most of the points are sunk, we have a 5-man Terminator squad, as well as a Land Raider that they are going to be driving around in with the Chaos Lord. The Terminators have the mark of Tzeentch, so making sure that once per turn, any damage first time goes to damage 0. Then the Land Raider is what you see is what you get. It does have the Storm Bolter up there on top, and then the Heavy Bolter and the 4 Chaos versions of the las cannons. So definitely outnumbered by the Imperial Space Marines, but I think the Iron Warriors might have the upper hand when it comes in gun sizes. So with that, we'll get to deployment and then show the battle as it gets started. The battlefield looks something like this after deployment is all done. On this table edge, we have the Chaos Space Marines. This 5-man squad with no marks and no heavy weapons are basically edged out at the very edge. That way, in case the Ultramarines get the first turn, they will still be out of the 18 inches max for shooting. They will be all set as they look down the table to the Intercessors. Then we've got one of the Mark of Nurgle squads with a Heavy Bolter and Sorcerer following right behind this tall, true line of sight blocking piece of terrain. The Land Raider is also making use of this piece of terrain, Chaos Lord in Terminator armor, and the Terminator squad inside. Then finally our second Mark of Nurgle squad with a Heavy Bolter, staying behind this piece of terrain to try to avoid getting shot at if anybody comes into range. Then on the other side of the table, we have the 3 Outriders lined up, ready to go. Then the 6-man squad of Intercessors at the bottom floor of this piece of terrain. Redemptor just on the other side of that wall, kind of hugging cover, but ready to move out towards the center, where the Infiltrators have done their thing and moved towards the center. And then over here we have the main shunt of the Ultramarines, the 5-man Intercessors, Tigerius, the Captain, and the Blade Guard, all clumped up together here to make use of Psychic Fortress from our Psyker as we look over to the other side of the battlefield where the Sons of Sey'tan are gathered. And here we are for the roll-off for first turn. We're going to do this like match play, so winner of the roll-off has to go first. Blue die is going to be the Ultramarines, black die is going to be the Chaos Space Marines. So, looks like we're going to have Ultramarines turn 1. Turn 1 for the Ultramarines, and here we are at the end of the movement phase. At the beginning of the battle round, we rolled off, and the Iron Warriors got first pick to move the objective. So it's edged 9 inches closer, right up near the Land Raider and this squad of Legionnaires. So with that, the order was move, move, move from the Ultramarines. The bike squad has moved up there 14 inches. So they are danger close. They are within range of the objective. Infiltrators are probably going to be one of the few things that's going to be able to shoot. They just moved their regular 6 inches from where they started near the center towards the Iron Warriors deployment. Then this whole blob of Ultramarines advanced, getting very good, all 5s and 6s on our advances. So the Redemptor, Blade Guard, Captain, and Tigerius all advanced up to claim the center of the board, hoping to pull back the objective in later battle rounds. This squad of Intercessors did not advance. They are probably not going to be within range of anything, but we can double measure in the shooting phase. And at the start of the battle round, Tigerius gave his buff of -1 to hit to the Blade Guard. So I'm just representing that right now with this little D4. And then that's going to do it for the movement phase. Oh, wait. And the 6-man squad of Intercessors also moved up and out a little bit to the second story of this ruined building to keep hold of the backfield, keep some fire support available in later turns. Now we will go on to the psychic phase for the Ultramarine. We're going to start off from Chief Librarian Tigerius with Psychic Fortress. So this will be with a +1 from him being the Chief Librarian. And then that'll be a 5 going to a 6. And that will do it. But that is going to be the deny from the Sorcerer right over here. So he's going to use his deny to attempt to block that. And with a 6, that will not deny it. I always can't remember whether it is meet or beat for denying the witch. So that will not be denied. However, I think that is something the Iron Warriors would rather not have the Ultramarines have available to them. So I will use a command point reroll on that one. I'm going to get above a 6. And that will be a successful denial of Psychic Fortress. Then we will do Veil of Time as our second power from Tigerius. This one also needing a 6 and needing to show a 5 on the die. And that'll be a 10. Sorcerer does have a second deny available to him, so might as well try. But with a 5, Veil of Time will go off. And that is rerolling advance and charge and fights first. So that is going to go on to the 3 bike squad of Outriders as we go into the shooting phase. To start us off with the shooting phase, I'm going to use Sons of Sey'tan for the Infiltrator squad right over here. That'll give reroll hits for them since they are troops. And they're going to fire everything that they've got into this 5-man squad of Legionnaires. So this will be on 3s rerolling. 6s will automatically wound. So we've got a lot of 6s. Wow, half? Yep, half of them were hits, or automatic wounds out of the hits, rather. And then only 1 needing to be rerolled. That will be 1 miss. Then on Strength 4, Toughness 4, because they have the mark of Nurgle, that will give them the -1 to be wounded. So this normally would be on 4s, since it's 4 into 4, but now it's going to be on 5s to wound. Alright, so only getting 1 more wound out of there. So we have a total of 6 at AP -0. So we fail 1, 2. So that's going to be 2 going in. So that will be 1 Legionnaire removed from this squad. Outriders will now shoot their twin bolt rifles into this damaged squad of Legionnaires. So 3s and 5s, because this is strength 4 again. So -1 to be wounded. And then that's not going to be any wounds from the Outrider squad. This 6-man Intercessors squad can just barely see this 1 Legionnaire, so they will take some pot shots from in their building. So this is going to be on 3s, so missing twice, and then 5s from Mark of Nurgle. Alright, that does save them 1 wound, so that would be AP -1. Armor of Contempt, AP -none, so 3 up, and makes it. So that is about everything on this side of the battlefield fired, with only 1 Legionnaire taken out. So already, Mark of Nurgle keeping them alive a little bit longer. Again, looks like we have Intercessors going down into Legionnaires. This time, though, only 3 of them have line of sight. So this is going to be 3s and on a 5. Nope. So that will be it for the shooting phase, as everything else in this blob in the center advance. Into the charge phase for the Ultramarines, we're going to have the Outriders charge into the Land Raider. So I will go down to 4 CP for the Iron Warriors to fire Overwatch. This is going to be starting with the las cannons. And that's going to be 1, 6. And then on a 3 to wound. 1 wound at AP -3. Goes down to AP -2, so a 5 up. And he makes it there. So now we'll go on to the Combi Bolter, since it's going to be the same number of shots. On 6s, so on 2s. Then on 5s, 1, and an armor save of a 3 will do it. And finally, the twin heavy bolter. We will get 2 more shots for that one. Then 6s, 1, 6. On a 4, will not do it. The Outriders are within 7 inches, so there's going to be a 6 rerollable with Veil of Time on them. And then an 11 will certainly do it. The Outriders have the Land Raider pinned down right where they want it. And here we are with their 19 attacks into the Land Raider. Now needing 6s to wound. Getting 1, 6. So a 2 up save for the Land Raider, and that'll be a 5. So no damage done to the Land Raider. Now the 6 attacks from the Land Raider back into the Outriders. Wow, alright. Looks like they have angered the Machine Spirit within the Land Raider. 4 hits. 3s to wound. That's going to be 3 wounds going through, and then 3 ups. Since there's no AP, no chainsaws, no blades on the tracks of the Land Raider. So on 3s, that will be 1 wound done to the Outrider. So the Land Raider is definitely inconvenienced and stuck in, but looks like one of them is going to take a wound in the fight phase. And with that, 1 wound taken off the Outrider, And then 1 Legionnaire destroyed on the Chaos Space Marine side. So that will go through turn 1 for the Ultramarines. Now on to turn 1 for the Iron Warriors. Turn 1 for the Chaos Space Marines at the end of the command and movement phase looks like this. We did a little bit of shuffling over here with this Legionnaire squad. The Heavy Bolter stood still, and this back guy just shifted over so he is not in line of sight of these Intercessors anymore, but still everyone is within rapid fire range or 18 inches of the Infiltrators. Land Raider did not fall back, but it did spew out its cargo of 5 Terminators and the Terminator Lord, kind of stringing back and making a weird line so that they are within range of the Sorcerer to hopefully receive warp time. Chaos Lord's right back here to give rerolls to everybody in this bubble. This squad shimmied up a little bit to get some more shots, and this squad stayed still to make use of their rapid fire. That's everything for the movement phase. Now on to Psychic. Now moving on to the Psychic phase from the Chaos Space Marines, starting off with Warp Time. Getting it with an 8. Let's see if Tigerius can deny that. And on a 6, going up to a 7, he cannot, so that will be another move for the Terminators. Ending like so from the Terminators on their second move. Now going and finishing off with Prescience from the Sorcerer. Getting a 4, that will not do it, so we will command point reroll. And getting that as a 7. So now we will see if Tigerius can deny that. With a 9, Prescience will be denied. And we are out a command point for the Chaos Space Marine. Starting off the shooting phase with the Chaos Terminator, I'm going to spend 1 command point going down to 3 for the Iron Warriors to do Wrath of the Chosen. That's a stratagem that you can use on Chosen or Terminators to give them +1 to hit in the shooting or fight phase. So they will get +1 to shoot. And they will be shooting into the Blade Guards, so counteracting the -1 that Tigerius gave them, back to hitting on 3s with their rapid-firing Combi Bolters. So, bolters from the Terminators into the Blade Guard Veterans, hitting on 3s, rerolling 1s from the Lord being nearby. So rerolling my 1, so 3, reroll, and looks like that CP, it got me 4 or 5 extra hits. And 3, so misses, yeah, that got me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 extra hits. Then on 4s, so it looks pretty good for wounds, trying to do quantity to get them to save. So armor saves for the Blade Guard. Now on to this Legionnaire squad at the back with one of the Heavy Bolters. I'm going to spend 1 CP on Demon Shells to give them +6 inches to their range and -1 to the AP of bolt weapons for the squad. That'll bring them down to 2, while the Ultramarines are still on 6. Now we are going to be hitting on 4s, rerolling 1s. So on 4s, rerolling 1, 1. So 3 misses. Then on 4s, so we've got 3 at AP -1, so back to 3 ups. And that'll be 2 failed saves on the Blade Guard, so that'll kill 1 and bring 1 down to 2 wounds. Then we will try to finish them off with the Heavy Bolter. That'll be 3 shots. And because this is a heavy weapon and we are in the first turn, that 6 will explode into another hit. Now, strength 5, toughness 4, so 3s. So that'll be 1 at an additional AP, bringing it down to a total AP of -2. That'll go up to our 4 invuln save, and that'll make it. So, 1 slain, 1 on 2 wounds from the combined fire of the Terminators and 1 squad of Legionnaires. Now the 5 bolt gun squad of Legionnaires into the Blade Guard, hitting on 4s. No chances to reroll our 1s, but only missed once. Then on 4s. Alright, so 4 at AP minus none, so 2 ups, looking for 1s. And that will be ineffective shooting from the Legionnaires. Now on to this squad and this flank of the battlefield. The 4-man squad of Legionnaires into the Infiltrators, starting off with the bolt guns, hitting on 3s, wounding on 4s, going through on 3s. Alright, so nothing from the bolt weapons, and then the heavy bolter, missing twice, but 1 explodes from being in the first wonton. Now on 3s. 1 goes through. AP 1 goes to AP none, so need a 3 up, or 1 infiltrator is slain. And that's a 4 up, so the infiltrators stand stock still and fine. Finally, for shooting, we have the Land Raider firing everything that it's got into the Outriders that are engaged with it. So these are going to be on 4s, since firing into melee with a heavy weapon. So 4s, looking for 6s to explode some of our heavy weapons. That's not going to do it, but that is going to be strength 9. So that'll definitely be 2 going through. AP minus 3 goes to -2, so 5 ups. That'll be make 1, fail 1. Here's where I'm going to spend a CP for the Ultramarines, try to save one of the bikes. And I do not. That is going to be D6 plus 2, so even minimum, that will be one of the bikes removed. Now the heavy bolter into the remaining 2. Hitting 3 times. Wounding 3 times. Heavy bolters go to AP minus 0, so needing 3s. Make them all for the bikers, and then finally the Combi Bolter on top, and this will not be at -1, so on 3. Could have used those 6s on some of my heavy weapons, but c'est la vie. And that's just going to be 2 at no AP. So that will be 2 wounds taken by one of the bikers, however. Now going into the charge phase, we're going to start with the Terminators. They are going to declare a charge into the Redemptor Dreadnought. So I'm going to spend a total of 3 CP, 1 to fire Overwatch, and 2 to use Defensive Focus to get up to 3 extra units firing Overwatch on the Terminators. So in grand total, it's going to be the Redemptor, the 2 Blade Guard, the Captain, and the Infiltrators, all firing Overwatch on the Terminators. And after all was said and done on the Overwatch, no damage has been done to the Terminators. We didn't even end up using the Mark of Tzeentch turn damage into 0 once per turn. So now we are ready to charge into the Redemptor. from my measurement, needing a 7, and a 9 will definitely get them in. Next up in the charge phase is the Terminator Lord. He is going to charge into the Blade Guard veterans. He is currently within 9 inches, so he is going to need an 8 on the die, and a 7 is not going to do it. So now going into the fight phase with the Terminators. And in the fight phase, the Terminators declare death to the False Emperor. I will be re-rolling the hit rolls into the Redemptor right over here. So we are going to be on 3s, re-rolling everything. And that was only 3 misses, so 3 re-rolls. And that is going to be everything but 1 is a hit. So we're going to be on 5s to wound going into the Redemptor. And these are going to be 3 or AP minus 3. So 5s to wound. A total of 7 at AP minus 3 going to AP minus 2. So now saving for the Redemptor Dread. And that is going to be a couple going through. 7 wounds left on the Redemptor, so just barely not bracketed, but that is almost its half of its hit points or hull points or wounds in a single fight phase from the Terminator, so pretty good wounding there. So now the Redemptor will swing into the Terminators with his 4 attacks. All hitting, and then this is going to be strength 14, so wounding on choose. And we are, yes, we will re-roll this, so going down to 1 CP for the Ultramarines as well. That's 4 going through at AP minus 3, going down to AP minus 2, so on 4s. All right, failing 2. So one of these will go down to 0 damage. One of these will be D3 plus 3. So that will be 1 Terminator removed. And then that'll do it for the end of round 1. So now we go into round 2 for the Ultramarines. And when I say that, of course, I mean we are going to be finishing the fight phase with the ongoing combat between the Land Raider and the bikes. They are still under the effects of Veil of Time, so they will be striking first. So we are going to be hitting on 3s. Looks like we've only going to get 3 out of our hits, and then 6s to wound. No wounds for the bikers. Then 6 attacks from the Land Raiders into the Outriders. Getting 1 hit. No wounds. So a little bit more typical there. So that will be a dead end. So now we will be going on to turn 2 for the Ultramarines. At the start of round 2 for the Ultramarines, they did win the roll-off to move the objective that is going to be dropping down, but unfortunately that is only going to be 2 inches, so they did scooch it back a little bit towards their Infiltrators, but it is still danger close to a good chunk of the Chaos Space Marines lines. In the end of the movement phase, the Outriders have remained locked in combat with the Land Raider. Infiltrators have stayed still. 6-man squad of Intercessors have scooched up on this building to get line of sight and range. The Redemptor did fall back from the Terminators to let the characters and 2 remaining Blade Guard into its space to start chopping down Terminators. this 5-man Intercessor squad moved up and got the -1 buff from Librarian Tigerius. So that is the Ultramarines at the end of movement phase. Just looking at the dead pile, you definitely can tell that the Twist Blackout did do a pretty good job of limiting casualties here in the first turn. 1 Terminator, 1 Legionnaire, 1 Blade Guard, and 1 Outrider were the only casualties in the first battle round. But I think by the end of this turn, we're going to see a lot less models on the table. Starting us off in the Psychic phase, we're going to begin with Psychic Fortress from Tigerius. So that is definitely a cocked die right there. So a 3 and a 5 +1 brings it up to a 6. So that would be a pass. Let's see if the Sorcerer is able to deny with a 6. That will not be a denial, so Psychic Fortress will go off. And then we're just going to go with a Smite from Tigerius as well. And with a 7, that gets it. Might as well try to deny from the Sorcerer with a 9. So Smite is denied, but that crucial Psychic Fortress does go off. Starting the shooting phase for the Ultramarines, we'll start with the Infiltrators into this Legionnaire squad right here. This is going to be on 3s. And those 6s will be automatic wounds. So this is going to be on 5s because this is marked by Nurgle. So this is going to be 3 at AP 1, goes to AP none from Armor of Contempt. So back to 3 ups. So that will take 1 wound off of the Legionnaire right here. And now we will go into the Intercessors. Same thing, shooting right into this Legionnaire squad. 3s. Not getting as many as they would have liked. And then 5s. Dropped 1 of the die. Alright, so that's going to be 3 at -2. Go to -1 from Armor of Contempt and the Tactical Doctrine being online, and that will be 3 fails, so that's definitely at least 1 dead. And I think the Iron Warriors have other places they need their command points to go, so that will be 2 more Legionnaires from this squad gone. Now I'm going to start this big blob of Ultramarines in the center, trying to whittle away the Terminators, so I'm actually going to start with this 5-man Infiltrator squad to try to eat up the once per turn Mark of Tzeentch damage 0 ability from them. So we are going to go rapid fire into their bolt rifles, re-rolling the ones from being near the captain, taking out all these 2s, and then on 4s. So that'll be 4 at -2, goes to -1, so 3 ups. Alright, one of these will be damage 0, one of these is damage 1, so that will be 1 wound off of a Terminator here. Now we will go into the Blade Guard. They're just going to fire their pistols really quickly. Both hit. Both wound. These are just pistols. And that'll be saves from the Terminators. Now the Captain's bolt rifle into the Terminators on 2s. On 4s. AP none. 2 ups, and that'll do it. So now we shall go into Tigerius. Again, it's the things that I choose to do off camera that have the biggest impact. Tigerius shot his bolt pistol, and he did take another wound off of this Terminator. now we will finally go into the Redemptor, firing at -1 from falling back and shooting into the Terminator. Onslaught Gatling on 4s, re-rolling 1s from the Captain. That's 4 at strength 5, so 3s. And this is AP -1, AP -none, so 2 ups. That makes it from the Terminators, the Icarus rocket pod on top, 2 shots on 4s, rerolling the 1, missing. Then the Storm Bolters, rapid firing on 4s, no 1s to reroll on 4s. That's 3, -1 AP goes to -none, 2 ups, make them. Then finally the Heavy Flamer, 2 shots, automatically hitting, strength 5, toughness 4, 1 at AP -1, AP -none, so no damage. So at the end of all that shooting and at the end of the shooting phase for the Ultramarines, we have 1 Terminator on 1 wound, and this Legionnaire squad is being whittled down. But other than that, now we go to the charge phase. After the charges, here's how we end up. I did not overwatch with the Terminators, so the 2 remaining Blade Guard and the Captain have both made it into melee with easy charges, and we will be starting with the Captain. With the Burning Blade and the Imperium Sword Warlord trait, we're looking at 8 attacks on the charge, strength 8, -5 to damage. So, needing 2s to hit, getting 1/1, and here is where I will spend a command point to reroll, getting a full house, strength 8 versus toughness 4, so 2s, drop die, never count, 2s. Alright, one of them does squeak by as not a wound. That's going to be 6 at AP5, goes to AP4, so 6 up saves for the Terminators, or 5 up invuln saves from being Terminators. Alright, makes 2 of them. That would be 1, 2 and a half Terminators dead. And I will not choose to spend a CP reroll there, so that'll just be 2.5 dead Terminators. Now the Blade Guard veterans into the 2 remaining Terminators on 3s, re-rolling 1s from the Captain. So I'm getting 1 more. Then we're going to be at strength 5, so 3s. At -3, -2 AP, so 4s to wound. Alright, make all but 1 for the Terminator, so that will be 2 more damage. So it is now just the Terminator Captain remaining in the squad, and we will go to his attacks back into the Blade Guard. 4 attacks of the Terminator into the Blade Guard, a full spread of hits, then wounding on 3s, full spread of wounds. So this will be at -3 AP, so going up to their 4-up invuln save for the Blade Guard. They will make it all. Now going on to ongoing combats with the Land Raider attacking into the Outriders, getting big 3 hits again. I think this thing is an honorary Blood Angel or White Scar from being so accurate in close combat. Then the wounds into the Outriders. That'll definitely be 3 wounds. And then on their 3-up saves. All right, that'll be 1 wound into one of the Outriders. And the Outriders back into the Land Raider. Only getting 3. Then on 5s. Getting 2. And they don't even scratch the paint. So that'll do it for turn number 2 for the Ultramarines. Only lost 2 over there for the Legionaries, so they can't fail. Leadership 10 on the Champion Terminator, so he can't fail. And then we didn't lose any in our own turn for the Ultramarines, so now going on to turn 2 for the Chaos Space Marines. At the end of the movement phase, the Land Raider has fallen back, and the Terminator Lord is moving up towards the Outriders to try to get the heavy firepower of the Chaos Space Marines back online. These 2 remaining Legionnaires have stayed stationary to increase their chances of hitting the Infiltrators, as well as both of these squads down here and the Sorcerer behind them. So we are good to go right into the Psychic phase. So we will start with the Sorcerer attempting to manifest a Smite. So that'll get it with a 10. Tigerius will try to deny that, but does not get it. So D3 mortals on the closest. That'll be 3 mortal wounds on the closest enemy unit. That smite went into the Blade Guard, so now we are going to attempt a Prescience, getting it with an 11. So can Tigerius deny the Prescience? He cannot. That is going to be +1 to hit for that squad of Legionnaires right in front of him. Going on to shooting and spending our last 2 CP for right now for the Iron Warriors on Veterans of the Long War. That's going to be +1 to wound. This 5-man Legionnaire squad is going to fire everything that they've got into this squad of Intercessors. This will be back to hitting on 3s. And 6s will explode from the bloodlust of the Wanton that we are in. And then +1 to wound. So we are now going to be wounding on 3s. All right, getting a total of 3 more wounds in there. So now we're on 3-ups. And then that will be enough to take 1 of the Intercessors off the table. Now the heavy bolter for that squad, hitting on 3s. And wounding on would-be 3s, so now 2s. Alright, so 2 at no AP from Armor of Contempt, so 3-ups. And that'll be 2 saved. That'll only be 1 Intercessor off the board. This squad of Legionnaires will also be firing into the Intercessor squad with -1 to hit. So this one will be hitting on 4s, but the 6s will explode, so we'll just keep those 2 hits in for the explosions. And then on 4s, so we've got 1, 2, 3 at no AP, so 3-ups, make them all. So that is only going to be 1 Intercessor in total taken off from the side of the field. Now the 2-man squad of Legionnaires will fire into the Infiltrators, starting with the bolt gun. Alright, 1 miss, 1 explosion, so ends up getting 2 hits. And then on 4s, 1 at no AP, nothing for that. Then the heavy bolter hits twice, 3s to wound, 1 wound at -1, goes to AP minus none, so 3 up. And that'll do it. Now for the Lord's Combi Bolter into the Outriders. His Combi Bolter into the Outriders on 2s. And this is rapid fire, so that would be an explosion. And then for the wound, 2 at minus 0. So 3 ups. Now one will be 1 less wound on one of the bikers. And then that is going to do it for the Chaos Space Marine shooting. We'll fire a pistol from the Sorcerer into those Intercessors, see if we can get anything. That'll be a hit. And I will have to check what type of pistol he comes with. Nope, that will not do it. So that will be it for the shooting phase for the Chaos Space Marines. Now into charges. Chaos Lord makes it into combat, no problem with the Outriders. And that is going to do it for the charges. So now we will get into the Chaos Lord into the Outriders. 6 attacks from the Lord into the Outriders on 2s. That'll all be it. And then strength 7 and 6s will automatically be 1 mortal wound in addition. So looking for 3 ups, hoping for 6s. All right, so that'll be 1 mortal wound and then 3 at minus 3. So we're going to have minus 2, so 5 ups. And they fail all of them. So 1 mortal wound takes 1 down to 1 wound. Then 1 fail. 2 fail will wipe the Outrider squad. So, pretty cleaned up in close combat for the Lord. He will not move out. He'll just tuck himself into this little alcove here. Now we go on to the ongoing combat of the Blade Guard into the remaining Terminator. Blade Guard into the Terminator. 3 hits. And 3s to wound. Will be enough to take him out. So that does clean up the... Yes, it will be enough to clean up the Terminator, since Mark of Tzeentch has already been used, since that is a per turn ability. So that will be the Terminators gone. They were a good speed bump, but looks like the model count and firepower is still in the Ultramarines' favor. So now we are going to go on to round 3, Ultramarines. At the start of Battle Round 3, here's how the board is looking. The Iron Warriors won the roll-off to see who got to move the objective marker. So it's now about 7 inches moved from where it was, on top of this big line-of-sight blocking piece of terrain. The Tactical Doctrine will stay in effect this turn, and we will stay in the... Chaos Space Marine version of Tactical Doctrine as I knock one of my models off the table. So, and the -1 to hit will stay on this 4-man now squad of Intercessors as we move on to the movement and then psychic phase. And the noose tightens around the neck of the Iron Warriors. The Infiltrators have moved up, hoping to be able to lock down the Land Raider in melee yet again. The 6-man Intercessor squad has moved down to the base level again, while the lone remaining Sergeant of the Blade Guard is now on the objective, hoping it does not move any further from him. And then this bulk of the Ultramarines have moved forward en masse to try to start clearing out this mess of Legionnaires. So we're going to go on to the Psychic phase right away. We're going to start with Psychic Fortress from Chief Librarian Tigerius. And on a 4/5, that is not going to do it. So we will spend 1 command point to reroll that for the Ultramarines. And that will take us to a Perils. Just checking if Tigerius has anything to counteract that, and he certainly does not. So that's just going to be D3 mortal wounds. That'll be 1 mortal wound on Tigerius for his troubles. Then he will also try to throw out a Smite. And a 6 will do it, a 7 technically. Then going on to the Sorcerer to try to deny. That'll be a 6, so that will not do it. It's a D3 out to the Legionnaire squad near the front. 1 mortal wound to the Legionnaires, so not the most impressive Psychic phase from Tigerius ever. Now on to shooting. The Infiltrators will go into the Legionnaires right here. So, needing 3s. Missing with quite a bit. Only getting 1 auto wound. And then these are still Mark of Nurgle, so now needing 5s. Alright, so only the 2 wounds. 3 ups to save. Make both of them. And we're going to do something similar probably with the Intercessors. So let me see what line of sight we have from the Intercessors into this 2-man squad. Only these 3 that are out in front of the building are able to see any of the Legionnaires. The other 3 are completely blocked, even though they can see through the ruin since they're inside of its footprint still. This will be 6 shots going into the Legionnaires on 3s. Alright, pretty good hit. And then probably be good if we had that to wound, so 5 to wound from Mark of Nurgle. 2 at AP -2, since Tactical is still in effect. AP -1, so 4 ups. Make 1 fail 1, so we will put 1 wound left on the remaining bolt gun Legionnaire, so we'll say that he is the champion of the squad since he's the other one remaining with no heavy weapon. And that'll be it for the 2 infantry squads over here. Moving on to this bolt. Intercessors in front are going to shoot at this squad of Marked of Nurgle Legionnaires. So 3s, rerolling 1s. Getting 1 reroll. Take out the 2s. Then they also have Mark of Nurgle, so we will be on 5s. Alright, so 2 at a grand total of AP -1. So both of those will be successful. So now we go on to the Redemptor. So we'll start with the Gatling Cannon from the Redemptor. On 3s, rerolling R1 from being core. Then on 5, fear for stuff is 4, so 3s. 4 at -1 goes to AP -none, so 3 ups. Fail 2, so that will be 1.5 Legionnaires dead from that. Then we'll go into the Storm Bolters that he has. Then on 3s, rerolling the 1, taking the 2 out. And this will be on 5s, since Mark of Nurgle, only 1 at AP -none from Armor of Contempt. That will be another fail, so that'll be 1 more Legionnaire down. Icarus Rocket Pod for 2 shots. Hit once, fail once. Icarus Rocket Pod is strength 7. So 2 will not do it. And then finally, the heavy flamer in the fist. 2 shots. Automatically hitting. Strength 5, toughness 4, so 3s. 1 at -1. Goes to AP minus none. 1 more failed. So at the end of that, we will have these 3 remaining, as well as the guns remaining from the characters and the pistol from the blade guard. No damage done from the captain, Tigerius, or the pistol, so going straight into the charge phase, the Infiltrators will charge into the Land Raider. So with a 9, that will get them around with space to spare so that they are not too close to the Lord. Then these Intercessors will charge into the 3-man Legionnaire squad, and a 4 should still be able to do it. Starting off, Intercessors into Legionnaires on 3s. Still within 6 of the captain, not that it helps there. Then strength 4, toughness 4, so I'm actually winning on 5 from Mark of Nurgle. Alright, getting 3 at no AP. Get all of them back, or get all of them saved. So now it's the Legionnaire's turn back. Hitting back on 3s. Wounding back on 4s. Saving on 3s. Alright, they will take one of the Intercessors down a wound. Now the Infiltrators into the Land Raider. And the slap fight between the Infiltrators and the Land Raider resulted in 1 damage going through on the Land Raider and 1 of the Infiltrators getting squished by the vehicle. So now we will go on to round 3 for the Sons of Sey'tan Chaos Space Marines. In turn 3 for the Chaos Space Marines, the Terminator Lord is moving up to hopefully clear out these 4 Infiltrators. 2 remaining Legionnaires on this side have stayed still, and they're eyeing up the final Blade Guard up top here. These 3 fell back while their 5-man squad brothers moved back up alongside the Sorcerer, getting ready for the Psychic and then Shooting phase. Speaking of the Psychic phase, we will start with the Sorcerer trying to manifest Smite into the Intercessors, getting it with an 8, and trying to deny from Tigerius. That will not do it. That'll be D3 mortal wounds to the Intercessors. That's 1 mortal wound, but that will be 1 less to go. And then trying to go for Prescience on the 5-man squad. With an 8, he'll get it. So Tigerius will try to deny that one, and he will not deny it, so they will be +1 to hit. This Prescience squad of Legionnaires is going to go ahead and fire at the Redemptor. We're trusting right now that melee is going to be enough to get these 3 Intercessors taken down, or at least make them less effective. So hitting on 2s into the Redemptor, and then getting 2 explosions to make up for the 2 misses, so that will be a full house of hits. And then to wound, we've got 1, 2, 3... 3 wounds at no AP, so the Redemptor will take 2 wounds, so bringing him down to 5. That will bracket him, so we're hoping that's going to be enough to take him to be less effective in shooting. This Legionnaire squad shooting into the lone Blade Guard up on the roof. Starting with the bolt gun will be a hit and a miss, and I did pre-measure. We are just barely within 6 inches of the Chaos Lord, so rerolling the 1 gets us to an explosion. So 4s to wound, no wounds there, but now we will rely on the heavy bolter, so 3s, and wish I had explosions there, 3s. All right, 2 at 4 up. Either one of these is not saved. He is removed. So that's a fail and a pass. So the Ultramarines are on 1 CP, so I will try to re-roll that and get a 4. So the Blade Guard will remain standing, but Ultramarines are on no CP now. Now we're at the end of the charge phase for the Chaos Space Marines. The Terminator Lord has made it in with the Infiltrators, as well as the Sorcerer and this 5-man squad into the 3 remaining Intercessors to use them as a bit of a shield so that the Captain or Tigerius or Redemptor can't as easily come charging in to wipe out this flank of the Marines. Starting off with the Terminator Lord going into the Infiltrator, 6 attacks hitting on 2s. Full house of hits. Then strength +3 for the Axe of the Forge Master. So wounding on 3s. And no 6s, unfortunately, but this is going to be AP -3, so AP -2. So we need 5 ups, or each fail is a dead Marine. And that'll be 1, 2, 3, 4 failures, and another 4. So that will be the squad wiped from the Warlord. Full 5-man squad of Legionnaires now into the Intercessors. Last CP for right now spent on Death to the False Emperor for re-rolling the hit roll in melee. So on 3s, now I kind of wish I had swapped over to the melee Wanton Massacre, I believe, but I will get to re-roll all of these. So that'll even then be a full house of hits. Then strength 4, toughness 4, 4s to wound. So we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wounds at no AP. 3s to wound, or 3 ups to save. Only 1 failed though, but that should take one of them out, because one of them did have a wound remaining. That will be 1 down, 2 to go as we go into the Sorcerer. 5 attacks from the Sorcerer into the Marines with 3s to hit, so only 2 hits. Strength 7, toughness 4, so 3s, and double 1s will not do it. So now it is the Marines' turn to swing back, so we'll do that really quickly. On 3s, and then on 4s, 3 ups to save, and they swing back ineffectively, so it will be pretty good melee for the Iron Warriors, but now it is turn 4, and we go into the Ultramarine shooting phase. In Ultramarines turn 4, it is still a 0-0 game, as the objective has been hopping around pretty randomly, so nobody has controlled it at the end of their command phase yet. Right now, it looks like the Iron Warriors might be set up if their blockade of 5 Marines up here can hold off a charge or good shooting. But right now it is 0-0. Iron Warriors also won the roll-off to move it, and they got 11 inches on the movement. So it is nice and snug back here, while the rest of the Ultramarines have been moving forward to get closer and closer, closing in on the objective and the remaining forces of Chaos. So we will be back in Ultramarines Psychic Phase for turn 4. We're going to start off with the Psychic Phase with a Smite from Tigerius, getting a 9, so needing a 10 to deny that from the Sorcerer. Nope, so that will be D3 Mortals to the Legionnaires right in front. So that will be 1.5 gone from Smite. Then we will choose to do Might of Heroes for this one. So that's a 1 and a 3, so that'll be a total of a 5. That will not do it, and we will not use our 1 CP to reroll that, so that'll be it for Psychic. Now shooting. Very quickly starting off with the 2 Intercessors who fell back. They're going to shoot into this Legionnaire squad on 4s, and 4s. Nothing, and that would have been 5 since they are Mark of Nurgle still, but c'est la vie. Now the captain into that squad in the back on 2s, and on 5s from Mark of Nurgle. Gets 1, passes it. Then he will also fire his pistol into the 3-man squad. Not getting it. Now into the Redemptor. Redemptor is going to fire everything that it's got into the 3-man squad of Legionnaires, starting with the Onslaught Gatling on 4s, since he is down to 5 wounds. Then on 3s, so that's going to be 2 at -1, goes to AP minus none, so 3s. Make 1, fail 1. We don't have any CP to re-roll anything. So that'll take us down 1 less Legionnaire. Now the Storm Bolters in the hull on 4s. Re-rolling the 1 from the captain. Then on 5s for Mark Nurgle. 1 at AP none. Fails 1. So we will put 1 wound on another guy. Then Heavy Flamer now. Only 1 shot. On a 3. At -1. So minus none. 3 up. That will kill the last bolt gun wielding Legionnaire. And then finally the Icarus Rocket Pod for 3 shots on 4s. Gets all of them. Then on 3s, makes all of them, and then 3 up, 2 damage apiece. That will save the last Legionnaire, and I believe that is everything over on this flank fired. The 6-man squad of Intercessors will now fire their bolt rifles into the Terminator Lord, since he is the closest. So now we will be hitting him on 3s, getting only 1 miss, and he did get +1 toughness, so toughness 5, so needing 5s to wound. Alright, 4 into his armor save, and that'll make it for him. The Ultramarines have charged in. Tigerius and the captain have both charged into this Legionnaire squad on this flank. The Chaos Sorcerer could have heroically intervened into Tigerius. However, if I had chosen to do that, none of the Chaos models would be in range of the objective. And at this point, since it is such a low-scoring game, that 1 command phase of being in range of the objective might be enough to swing it for Chaos. And then over here, the Chaos Terminator Lord has been surrounded by the 6 Intercessors and the 1 lone Blade Guard remaining. I was tempted to try to finish these 2 off, but they've been the least of the issues, trying to tie him up and perhaps make it so he cannot fall back, so the Land Raider will still not be able to do anything. Might be enough to get us into a lead for the Ultramarines. So now we will go into the fight phase for the Ultramarines. Iron Warriors have no CP to interrupt, so we're going to go right through it. Starting with the Primaris Captain and the Burning Blade into the Chaos Space Marines. Missing once. And wounding on 3s. So that will be for 5 of them at AP minus going to 4 because of the Assault Doctrine, back to AP minus 3, so needing 6s, or they are removed. So, good roll from them, so that will take 3 of them out. We're going to remove in such a way to get Tigerius possibly out of range of piling in. Let's just see here for a second. I try to take measure out one-handed with the camera. Nope, he will still be able to pile in and get the last remaining Legionnaire taken care of, hopefully. Tigerius was able to finish off the last remaining Legionnaire from that squad, so now we go over to the fight into the Terminator Lord. The Blade Guard and the 6 Intercessors all bounced off of the Chaos Lord, so now we're going to go into his attacks, and he's going to try to clear out this flank of Ultramarines. Attacks from the Terminator Lord into the Intercessors, hitting on 2s, getting 2 misses, and then wounding on 3s, and every 6 is a mortal wound. So only 2 at minus 3. So 2 will die from the attacks back of the Terminator Lord. And that is going to do it for turn 4 in the Ultramarines. Turn 4 for the Chaos Space Marines, and there's finally scores on the doors. It is 1-0 for the Chaos Space Marines, as the Sorcerer was able to hold the objective. A little bit of maneuvering around here with him. The Land Raider is finally not stuck in combat, so it will be able to bring its guns to bear, probably over to Chief Librarian Tigerius, as he is going to be the closest visible. And then finally, these 2 Legionnaires did advance out of their position just to see if in the last turn there's anywhere specific they need to be. And they got a 6 on their advance, so they're back there just in case they need to be of some nuisance or of some use in the last turn. And with that, we can go right ahead to the Psychic phase. It's going to be a quick one. We're just going to try to smite into the Intercessors, getting a 7, so Tigerius will try to deny that, and a 7-8 will deny the smite. Now we will go into the shooting phase. Heavy bolter of this lone remaining Intercessor, Legionnaire, will go right into these Intercessors, so hitting on 3 since he did stay still, and then wounding on 3s, 2 wounds, AP 1 goes to AP none, so 3 ups or they're dead, so make 1, fail 1, so that will take 1 of the Intercessors out. Then we go on to the big guns of the Land Raider. We're going to declare the Heavy Bolter and the Storm Bolter into this final remaining Intercessor, and then the las cannon shots will all go into Tigerius. We'll also start with the las cannons into Tigerius, hitting on 3s. And then I think this is where we will use our 1 reroll, or 1 CP, to take a reroll. Wounding on 2s, strength 9, and that will be 3 wounds. Going into Tigerius's invuln save, a 5, 6, and a 1. Ultramarines will definitely want to use their command point to reroll that, and that'll be a whiffer on the wounds into Tigerius. Disappointing, the Land Raider did not do anything to Tigerius, but between the Heavy Bolters and the Storm Bolter, it was able to clean up the last Intercessor over here. So that'll go through the shooting phase. With the charge phase, I've thought about it, I've hemmed, I'm hawed. I do not think it would be in Chaos's interest to try to charge anyone. So we will simply have it be like so at the end of the charge phase. And in fight phase, the Ultramarines will get first shot at trying to take the Chaos Lord out in ongoing combat. The Terminator Lord has gone down to 5 wounds from the attacks in the Intercessors, so now it will be his turn. He's going to throw all of his attacks into the Intercessors, hitting on 2s. And that is going to be a full house +4 from being in the melee doctrine for Chaos Space Marines. So that was about as good as you can get. And then going on to wound on 3s. Looking for 6s, so we have 1 mortal wound. And then a total of 6 armor saves. At -3, going down to -2, so 5 ups. Alright, so that will be 2.5 dead for that. So that'll be, take actually like so, and then leave 1 on 1 wound. And that'll be it for battle round 4. As we go into battle round 5, both sides look like they've got pretty good options, but it's all about where the objective end up going. Battle round 5, turn 5 for the Ultramarines. It might be all over but the crying. The Ultramarines won the roll-off to move the objective, and it is moved back here under the control of the Redemptor, so that ties the score up 1-1. So it'll all be about who controls it at the end of the game. So we shall see if the Ultramarines have cinched it with that final roll, or if Chaos can find a way to get it back under their control over on this side of the field. Rapid fire, we're going to go into the psychic phase. Librarian's going to smite 6, 7, so needing an 8 or more to deny that. Getting an 8 to deny it. And then we are going to go with Might of Heroes from Tigerius. Getting it with a 9, needing a 10 to deny. Nope. So Might of Heroes is going to go on to the Captain, make him even beefier. Then shooting phase, everything from the Redemptor is going to go into the Sorcerer right here. Redemptor was able to blast away the Sorcerer. That's going to do it for the shooting phase. Going into the charge phase, here's the Captain, into the Lone Legionnaire. Great, man. Lone Legionnaire get charged by Tigerius as well. Then at the end of this, battlefield over here looks like this. Captain made light work of the single Chaos Space Marine. And then at this point, this fight probably doesn't particularly matter because there's no real way for the captain or lord to get himself out in any way that is beneficial. So it might just be what these guys back here can do. So I will see what Chaos can do, but this might be the final nail in the coffin. We went through the rest of the fight phase. The Lord was able to kill himself out of most of the combat, but he's still tagged up with this one blade guard. So looking at everything, measuring, double measuring, it's down to these two heroes of the Immaterium to see if the battle is won. If, in turn 5, Chaos Space Marines can get a 6 on the advance for this unit, one of them will be in range of the objective, just barely, taking it away from the Redemptor, scoring it 2 points, so it'll be 3-1 for the Chaos Space Marines. If they are not able to get a 6 on their advance, it'll be 3-1 for the Ultramarines. So, we're going to go right into turn 5 for the Legionnaires. So, this die, and I will have a reroll for the CP. So this rerollable needs to be a 6 either time for Chaos to win. Otherwise, it's going to be Imperium victory today. So, advance for the Legionnaires. And you can't make it up, folks. And that is the way the battle has unfolded with that 6. Some definite heavy wobbly model syndrome here for the Legionnaires. But at the end of this turn, they are able to remain 1 inch away from the Redemptor, within 3 inches of the lone objective, to make it a tight, nail-biting victory for the Chaos Space Marines in today's battle report. So, I hope you guys had as much fun as I did. Obviously, this being solo hammer, it can be a little bit difficult to decide which of your own armies you want to see win, but I think I was able to get a pretty good showing from both of the armies in today's battle report. So, everybody, thank you very much for clicking onto the video. Make sure you hit like, comment, and subscribe if you would be able to, and if you feel like helping out the channel, I do have a link in the video and channel description where you could throw a little bit of tips my way to help me support this hobby and this channel. But if not, subscribing and clicking those viewerships up and up and up also helps out massively. Thank you all very much, and I'll see you on the next battlefield of the 41st millennium.